today to recap my Masters bets from last weekend and also to talk a little bit about something going on in the NBA that is of particular interest to me. So we'll jump right in. It was overall a successful Masters weekend for me. My bet of Sung Jae Im to come in the top 20 hit. There were, I think, 7 players tied for 16th place, including Sung Jae Im. So that meant that there were actually 23 golfers that finished in the top 20, which I guess diluted the payout a little bit. So I bet it at plus 125. The payout ended up being minus 165. So a little bit of a bummer there, but still coming out in the black. And the bet that really made it a winning weekend for me was that there was no hole-in-one in the tournament this year. So my bets that lost were Matt Fitzpatrick coming in. I bet on him to win, actually. He was actually doing pretty well for a while. There was a point when I was thinking he might come in the top 7, and I'll wish that I had done the win place option to earn some money on that one, but he ended up finishing a little further down on the leaderboard, but it turned out not to be a terrible pick. He played some good golf for a lot of the tournament. And then Jason Day was in the top 10 going into the final round. I thought for sure that bet was going to hit, and he had a very poor final round. I think he on Sunday was plus 6 or something. So he ended up finishing out, not only out of the top 10, but out of the top 20. So that was disappointing. But again, I finished up about, I think about a unit and a quarter total that I won on the weekend. So I will look to do some more golf bets later on in the summer as the other majors take place. So what I wanted to touch base on is what's going on with the Dallas Mavericks. For those who haven't been following, there was a game a couple weeks ago, the last game of the season, I think, or it might have been the second to last game, something like that, for the Mavericks. And I think basically if they had won the game, they would have been in the playoffs as the 10 seed in the play-in tournament. They were up pretty big at the half. I think I didn't watch the whole game, but I saw some of it peripherally when I was out, and I looked up on the TV, and they were up by like 9 points with maybe 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they ended up losing the game. And part of the reason they ended up losing was because they didn't play a lot of their starters for most of the second half. Most notably, Luka Doncic played only the first quarter of the game, and it's widely believed that the Mavericks tanked. that they purposefully lost the game, or certainly did not try to win the game, to improve their draft position. There is a clause due to a past trade that if the Mavericks pick ends up in the top 10, the team gets to keep it, but if it falls outside of the top 10, it goes to the Knicks. And if the Mavericks had made the play-in tournament, that would have ensured that they did not end up with a top 10 pick. I'm pretty sure. So basically it was determined by the league that the Mavericks violated the league's player resting policy and demonstrated through actions and public statements the organization's desire to lose the game in order to improve the chances of keeping its first-round pick in the 2023 NBA draft. And that's a quote from the league office, I guess. So, if you've been following me, you know I had a personal stake in the Mavericks. I did a long shot parlay bet that the Mavericks would, one of the legs of it was the Mavericks winning the Western Conference. I became pretty skeptical of that outcome within a few games of making that bet. It became apparent to me that the Mavericks were not the team I thought they were. So I wasn't really under any delusion that even if they had won that game against the Bulls and made the play-in tournament, and even if they somehow came out of the play-in tournament and won the 8th seed going into the actual playoffs, I don't think they really had a shot to win the Western Conference. So I'm not just ranting about this as a bitter, losing better, but I do think it's very disappointing to see teams not go out and try to win. I think it's unfair to the fans who paid good money to go see the game live. It's unfair to the fans watching on TV, and it just undermines the integrity of the sport, I think. Not to sound too corny, but the whole point of sports or any competition is to just always go out and try your best and try to win, no matter the circumstances and no matter the stakes. And I think to see a team not do that is just very disappointing and demoralizing. So the Mavericks were fined $750,000. Whether or not that's the appropriate amount, whether or not that's going to deter other teams from doing this in the future, who knows? I don't know what other measures leagues can take to avoid tanking. Obviously, that was the purpose of the draft lottery, to make it so it's not guaranteed that you're going to get the number one pick, even if you have the worst record. So teams still have an incentive to go out there and try to win. And I don't doubt that the players, it's less of an issue of the players on the floor playing their best. I'm sure the guys that were put in the game were still trying to make their shots, were still playing defense. But the fact that the coaching staff and the team management wasn't putting its best team on the floor is just unfortunate, I think. And of course, we don't want to put rules in that are too strict, that prevent, or that force players who are injured to go out and play even when they're not ready. Obviously, I know players need their rest, they need to recover from injury, and sometimes, the best players legitimately can't play even in big games, and we obviously want to, make sure we're not setting rules that force players to play when they're not ready. But there's got to be some consequences, I think, for doing what the Mavericks did. So overall, I am supportive of the league taking some action against them. So we will see what comes of this. I don't know if the Mavericks are going to appeal or what the exact process is, but it's an interesting situation, and I just wanted to rant on it for a little bit. And I'm thinking I'm going to see how the first round of the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs shake out, and then I might reset my thoughts on both those playoffs and do another four-way parlay on the champions of each conference in the NBA and NHL. So I also picked the Bruins to win the East in the NHL, the Celtics to win the East in the NBA, and the Edmonton Oilers to win the West in the NHL. So all those three teams are still in the playoffs. I may end up deciding to stick with them after the first round is in the books. It's possible one or more of those teams will be eliminated. It's possible I'll just change my mind and want to go with a different team. But I'm thinking before the second round, I will put out another video with another bet for the conference champions. So be on the lookout for that. And thanks as always for listening, liking, subscribing. And as always, feel free to chime in the comments if you have any thoughts on what I've talked about today with tanking in the NBA or other professional sports. So, hope everybody is having a good night, and you'll hear from me soon. Take care. Bye-bye.